What's up, Van Fam? In this video, we're going to talk all about why you might want one of these. But first, if you want to see more questionable van life content, make sure to click that subscribe button below. Alright, let's get into it. So, those of you who have been following us know that we absolutely love our Sprinter van. So does Orlando too. It gets us where we need to go, we haven't had any issues with it, and it drives beautifully. But some of our van life friends haven't been so fortunate, and we've heard tales of them breaking down, going into limp mode, which is where the van just caps out how fast you can go, or getting a flashing check engine light. Now, I'm no mechanic, and you should by no means take any advice from me, but in those situations, you should probably head straight to a service center. But the question is, what happens when your check engine light comes on and it's not flashing, and let's say you're in the middle of a gorgeous boondocking spot that you're not ready to leave yet? How do you know how serious it is, and how do you know whether or not you need to make a fast drive to the nearest service center? Well, that's where this comes in. So this is an OBD2 reader, and what it's going to do is basically tell you what codes you're pulling and potentially how serious they are. So let's go hop on over to our friends at Warner Vans in Salt Lake City. We have Joe from the service department there, and also our friend Todd, who happens to be pulling some codes, and we're going to see how they use this OBD2 reader.
Right, well, if you have an OBD2 scanner, code reader, some people call them, you can easily just connect it and read the code, and it'll tell you general idea of what's going on. Now, it won't tell you what you exactly need to replace, but it gives you an idea of what you need. Also, the van will let you know if you shouldn't drive it or not. You know? So if the check engine light is flashing, you definitely don't want to drive it to cause any more damage, but the van will also shut down or go into limp mode and say, take to dealer. Okay.
So when we go to a service center or a dealer, are they using this, or are they using something a little bit more?
So we're using something more technical. This is your basic code reader. So when you come to a dealer like Warner Vans, we have what we call a Zentry, and it links directly to Mercedes. So it goes deep, it connects to the internet, you get a lot more information, but of course you need to be trained or SE certified, things like that to understand those things.
Cool. All right, let's see what we can do for Todd then.
Let's break this thing. Come on.
All right. So when you connect your OBD scanner, you want to make sure that the key is on and the engine is off. So you go ahead and turn it on. So display, and it'll show your check engine light on there. So then you want to go up underneath the dash on the left-hand side. There's the OBD port. So make sure you have it lined up. And then you plug it right in. And then with the key on, it'll automatically start going and show you what to do. And you just follow the steps. So most of the time you'll just hit enter. It'll say can OBD2, and it'll wait for the vehicle to respond. And make sure you don't turn the key off or anything while it's doing this process, or you're going to have to start all over again. Now it tells you there's 5 codes found. All right, so we hit enter, and we hit read codes. And it's pretty simple. And then sometimes, it depends on what module the code is in, you have to choose. So we'll hit the first one right there. It says P2459, diesel particulate filter regeneration frequency. So that tells me that the DPF, the diesel particulate filter, isn't regenerating as frequent as it should, or maybe too frequently. Like I said, it's generic, so we don't know exactly, but that gives us an idea where to start looking. All right, and then you can scroll down, and it will go to the next code, and that's an exhaust gas temperature too high. So that also gives an idea what you're doing. So the tech can take those codes and say, okay, so I have 2 exhaust gas temperature sensor circuits, which might be a sensor, or maybe something connected to the sensor, we don't know. That's where the diode comes in. But that'll tell you, okay, so it's not that bad. Like if you call the dealer and we'll say, oh, you can still drive it to us without worrying about ruining anything in your van. And then if it is something simple that you already know about, or you call us at the dealer, we can say, you know what, that's fine. If you just don't like your check engine light being on, you can actually clear it with this scanner. We don't recommend doing that most of the time, because we want an engine light on when you get here so we can actually look for something. So in my recommendation, leave the check engine light on, don't clear it if you don't know what's going on.
So what you're saying is basically this could buy us some time too. So if we're out in the field, we're enjoying boondocking or off-roading, and we pop an error code, we plug this in and see, something generic like that, we call you, you could say, oh, you're fine for a little bit, just schedule it, you know, come in a week or 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll give you a peace of mind knowing that you're not going to ruin anything on your van while the check engine light's on.
I got you.
So, so yeah, it's not a fix-all, but it's definitely helps you know the general idea of what's going on.
Yeah. And is there, you know of any resources where we can learn about the codes if we're out in the field before we call you, if it's a weekend, to learn about, you know, what codes are more serious than others?
So the resource on the scanner, it'll tell you if it's just a generic code. If it's a more specific or dealer code, then that's more serious. But if it's generic, then it's not super serious. And then you can look it up on, you know, Google it online or anything like that.
And where can you get one of these?
So you can get an OBD2 scanner at any parts store, really. And there's different sizes and different types, but they're generally anywhere $30 to $60. You don't need a real expensive one because you're just reading codes. Yeah. Unless you're trying to get into mechanics or anything like that, then you're going to want something bigger than this. The benefits of telling the dealers when you call me like, hey, I scanned it and my code said, the number is not really important. It's more of what the code said, so they have an idea. We're going to scan it anyway when you bring it to the dealer. So you don't have to get too deep in depth when you're telling them what's going on, but it will give an idea of what they're looking for when you bring it in.
Is this also important? It tells you whether or not to drive or not. So if I check the scanner and it says, hey, this is really dangerous, you can say, yes, that is, don't drive it.
Right. Well, the scanner's not going to tell you if it's dangerous or not. More of the knowledge is if your check engine light is flashing or not flashing.
Okay, that's our telltale.
All right, so in Todd's case example right here, let's say it was Saturday, he's out enjoying the beautiful mountains in Utah. Yeah. Are these codes where he'd be all right, you know, spending another week out there, or would you say he's got to get himself into a service center?
I would say he'd be good for another week, you know. And then that's another thing. If you clear the check engine light and then keep driving and it comes back on, you can check it, it's the same code, and you're good. If you clear the check engine light and it doesn't come back on, then hey, maybe you won the lottery, you're lucky, you don't need to do anything about it, right?
Cool. Well, thanks so much for showing this, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Todd, for being our guinea pig.
I like to break stuff.
All right, thank you.
All right, so we're convinced that we want one of these in our van at all times. And really, I think for me, the biggest benefit is if you're out in the field, if you're, you know, off-roading and you pop an error code, I would want to know whether it's something I got to rush to a service center for, or if I can explore the rest of my weekend, enjoy the rest of my weekend. So I think this is going to be an important thing for us. And if you find yourself in the Salt Lake City area, make sure to swing by Warner Vans if you need any service work done on your Sprinter. They have an excellent team here, really great customer service, really impressed by this facility. And if you like this video, make sure to gently tap that like button. If you didn't, smash that thumbs down button twice so we know just how much you didn't like it, and make sure to subscribe for more questionable van life content. Until next time.